D-backs to cover. One more, end of the over 14 gone. Punjab Kings 131 for 3.
But if you're Suryakumar Yadav, for example, who is probably not earning as much, earning a decent amount, but not as much as but not quite your Kohlis. But there's only one Kohli, and how many Kohlis Saudi Arabia says, and then you might be able to prize players like that away, but not quite your Kohlis. But there's only one Kohli, and how many Kohlis are there out there of that sort of stature? There's not that many, so you may be able to nick the players who are, you know, the tier below or the tier below that.
The fear for England fans is that someone like, say, Harry Brook might disappear to do the Caribbean Premier League. Would he then have to ask for a sort of no exemption certificate, no objection certificate from his franchise to play, for example, an Ashes series in June, July?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it would be like that.
And England, by contrast, are then going to have to up the match fees, aren't they? You would imagine. Arshad, the attack, left arm over the wicket. This ball's nicely placed by Livingston. Superb shot, just cut down towards deep backward point for 4. We're going to continue this interrogation with Ravi at various points during the day, but we can pick it up with Lydia Greenway, World Cup winner, because, do you know, if IPL franchises are looking at signing up men on £5 million contracts, how long is it before women's franchises start to do the same?
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? Just to think that cricket is now in this position.
Short, cut away again by Livingston. 4 more. This is loose stuff from Arshad. He's feeding Livingston's cut. You don't want to be doing that. 139 for 3.
They're so strong in that area, Liam Livingston. We've seen him, one of his trademark shots off the legs, but this one in particular as well. Anything short and wide, so quick onto it. But yeah, I find it interesting listening to, you know, obviously people like Ravi chat about where the men's game is going, because it's certainly going somewhere, and I think everyone's just trying to work out how international cricket and franchise cricket will fit in, and if they complement each other or if there be conflict. And you can't help but feel that at some point we might be losing some players. But it's hard to say in what capacity, though.
Well, New Zealand has kind of lost some of them already, haven't they, playing international cricket? Well, some of their players here at the IPL. Short, pulled out towards deep square leg, and Livingston's going to amble this single. Takes him to 40 from 26. The partnership 45 from 21, 140 for 3 halfway through the 5th. It's when things impact England and Australia that there's going to be a lot of whining, and it's of course totally unfair. Pakistan's a country of 5 times whining, and it's of course totally unfair. Pakistan's a country of 5 times the size of. It's when things impact England and Australia that there's going to be a lot of whining, and it's of course totally unfair. Pakistan's a country of 5 times the size of England, and 14 times the size of Australia. I think they'd be better at cricket, wouldn't you?
It's a bit like the football situation, isn't it?
This is driven back past the bowler. Just be a signal to log off. I'm very concerned about this. Atif is going to have to get towards me to get this this microphone in about 2 balls' time.
Have to leave now, Atif.
He's very aggressively taking a wet wipe. one for my mouth and one for the microphone. Yeah. But it really is, isn't it? We're going to be finding out a lot. There's going to be a lot of intriguing discussions. A short ballooning bouncer goes over the head of Livingston, who ducks underneath it. Can't believe it's not been given as a wide. He is allowed to refer. I do like this. Yet again, it's the women who started this. There was a WPL. There was the first to introduce the referral for the wide.
I really like it, actually, because I think umpires are only human, aren't they? They won't get everything right, but those decisions do make a big difference. We saw a few review towards the end of games where it does change things. Last ball of the 15th is full. Oh, beautifully squirted away by Livingston. If you can have a beautiful squirt, that was it. It was full and angled past the right hand. Oh, backward point down to the boundary for
I stand by it. A beautiful squirt. 50 partnership up. Livingston 44. Jitesh 24. 143 for 5 after 15. More from you, Lydia Greenway, and then spokesperson for the Pakistan Cricket Board, Atif Nawaz, will be coming in.
Thank you, Dan. Yeah, Liam Livingstone really finding his groove now, and a brilliant partnership as well from these two. 50 now up. That over just went for, well, I say just went for 14. So they really are setting it up nicely. Wickets in hand as well. They've got power to come. 5 overs left, 145 for 3. And we said all along it was going to be a high-scoring game just because of the quality of the pitch, but also the quality of these two batting lineups. Arguably two of the most destructive and powerful lineups in the competition. Liam Livingstone 20 from 12 off this partnership, and Jitesh Sharma 24 off 11. So going very well indeed.
That's
Atif, you ready?
beautifully done. Thank you so much, Lee. She could see me cleaning the mic and continue to buy me time until I was ready. I'll tell you who else is ready. Jofra Archer. He's back into the attack for his third over. He's running into Jitesh Sharma, who makes some room and hammers that ball down to long off, who makes a brilliant athletic stop. Great fielding in the deep there, preventing what could have been a boundary. Ends up just a single. 146 for 3. 15.1 overs. Fascinating discussions we've had in the programme today earlier. Ravi Bopara talking about his team for the ODI World Cup later in India this year, but also the direction of cricket and contracts and what have you. And I've got very strong views about this myself, Lydia, I've got to tell you.
I'd love to hear.
I'll shim momentarily as Jofra's at the top of his run-up. Much like a plane, he slowly starts and then gets faster and faster as he comes into Livingstone, who pulls this ball away towards the leg side boundary, and it's going to get there. 4 more for Liam Livingstone. He's seeing it properly now. 1 blow away from a half century. 150 comes up for the Punjab Kings. 150 for 3 after 15.2 overs. What a shot.
Yeah, I think that was a slower delivery as well, and Livingstone's just been able to hold his shape and managed to still generate the power that he needed, managed to split the 2 boundary riders out there. I think they've scored nearly 70 runs off the last 5 overs or so, so just shows on these types of wickets you can catch up. So
there's Archer again. This is another slow ball. Livingstone waits on it, doesn't quite time it as well, pulls down to long on for a single, and you can see the frustration on his face. Quite good at lip reading, but I won't repeat what it was he said. This partnership, as you say, Lydia, is worth 56 off 27 deliveries now, and they're both seeing it really, really well. We could well see another total in excess of 200 today.
Yeah, no reason why not. As I said, they have got firepower to come, especially if Livingstone continues the way that he's going, manages to find the boundary with ease when he's like this.
Archer in again. This is quick and short, well taken by Ishan Kishan behind the stumps, and there's a lot of fire behind that delivery, and then Archer just signalling with his hands to the keeper, let me have that ball back, I want to do it again. Big swing attempted from Sharma. He was sort of half evading the ball and half sort of swinging. Archer just asked for the ball very quickly, has a little glance at the square leg umpire. Liam Livingstone has a smile to himself. It's nice to be at the non-strikers then when the ball's coming in at 153 kilometres per hour at your face. He's very just paced nicely. This over. Here comes Archer. How fast is this one going to be? It's a slower ball again. Well watched by Jitesh. Just walks it down to long on for a single. Yeah, between 117 kilometres per hour and 153 kilometres per hour. That's quite some range.
Yeah, it is, and I think he's got different ways in which he does it. He's obviously got the back of the hand, slower ball, and you've seen on occasions he's running his fingers down the side of the ball, so different ways that he can take the pace off, but it's been effective. Majority so far in this over have been slower deliveries.
Let's see how he finishes against Liam Livingstone, who's on 49. It's another slower ball, and Archer wins the battle. Big swing, no connection from Liam Livingstone. He'll have to wait till the next over to get to his half century. 152 for 3 after 16. The umpire is going to tap his watch. We have a strategic timeout, which wonderfully, very conveniently gives us time to continue to talk about this topic of sort of year-round contracts. So this is what was floated recently, the idea that, with the growing influence of Indian ownership groups who begin with the Indian Premier League, but also own teams in South Africa and UAE, and of course the United States of America, and possibly Saudi Arabia going forward. So you could end up in a position where certain players are contracted for effectively 12 months by franchises, and like people have views on this, like international cricket and what have you, and all that kind of stuff. But I don't believe in the NOC system that they have right now. Like, my personal thing is, you know, there shouldn't really be restriction of trade on cricketers. Like, if a player wants to go and play in any league in the world, they should be able to. Likewise, the cricket board in question that feels neglected or what have you, should have the ability to sort of phase them out and say, well, look, okay, if you want to go and play in those leagues, that's up to you. We're not going to consider you part of our setup because we have to develop our team, we have to build our squad, and we have to think about our future, which is perfectly reasonable. What's not reasonable is saying to a player, you may or may not be part of our setup, but we're also not going to grant you an NOC just in case. You're at the mercy of the cricket board when you really should be free to go and make a living. It's just on that basic level that I just think NOC shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah, and I think that's fair enough. So you mean that the NOC's coming from the country boards,
boards,
so
yeah.
like the ECB, for example, holding back players from going to play in other competitions. I guess that's the point, isn't it? Is that if a player signs for, let's say, the Mumbai Indians for 12 months of the year, then suddenly someone like the ECB loses that ability to even play that card of the NOC.
Yeah, I suppose so. But like from the ECB's perspective, I think the emphasis should be on, look, this is what we can offer you. You want to go and earn money like Jos Buttler and Moeen Ali. How did they become Jos Buttler and Moeen Ali? They did it playing for England. They became those stars. Ours is the shop window you want to be in. And if you do well and you want to move on from there, that's up to you. But we'll just find the next one and the next one and the next one. So I just don't think players should be the ones who have to make that difficult choice. You know, players have a limited window to make the most of their playing career, and obviously they can go on to become, you know, whatever they want, broadcasters, coaches. They can, you know, the wonderful cricketers, obviously like yourself, who've done well post cricket. But whilst you're playing, I feel like you should be free to play wherever you want. You should be free to trade wherever you want. And the company, like, you know, cricket boards, they should be able to factor that in and not use you. Like, if Jos Buttler, for example, decided I just want to play franchise T20 cricket for the rest of my year, then England would then have to make the choice. Is it worth it to us to incorporate Jos? Do we want to make a statement and say, well, no, actually, we're going to find the next Jos, or we're going to find the next, you know, as an example. That's my thought on it. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's the player takes it out of the hands of the governing bodies in a way if they do decide to go down that route, because in a way I think the governing bodies could be in a position where they don't have the power that they have now to just dictate what players do. And it's interesting, obviously, with Rob Key now in charge at the ECB, I get the impression that he isn't going to be as protective of the England players as much as someone else might have been.
Absolutely. Arshad into the attack. We're back in the strategic timeout, and it's a big swing and a miss from Jitesh Sharma. 152 for 3 after 16.1. I
was listening to an interview Rob Key, and this isn't going to be a very good story because I can't remember the name of the player that he was speaking to, but it was an England player, and he was just saying how he felt much more comfortable calling Rob Key up to say, look, I want to go and play in this competition.
As Arshad, then again, there's a big swing from Jitesh. It's gone a long way up in the air and just over the boundary at long off. I thought it might just get sort of intercepted by the fielder in the deep, but just clears him. It's a shorter boundary down the ground, and another 6 for the Punjab Kings. 158 for 3. We'll get plenty of sixes to analyse, to be honest, Lydia, but I'm very interested to hear your thought.
I'm pleased that happened because it gave me time to think of the name. It was Tamal Mills.
It was Tamal Mills, okay.
Yeah, and I think he just said that he called Rob Key up and said, look, I've got the opportunity to go and play in this competition. He felt at that point he was unlikely to get picked in the England starting 11, and I think Rob Key just said, okay, that's fine, go and play over there. So it's a bit like the Sam Billings thing as well, where he was picked often in the England squad, but he wasn't actually playing, so you can't blame players to go off and play.
As the next one's a short ball from Arshad, goes through to the keeper on the bounce. It's been signalled a wide by the umpire. I wonder if it'll get reviewed. Probably not. Rohit Sharma doesn't look like he wants to review it. 159 for 3. Yeah, no, it's not indeed going to get reviewed. 2 balls into the 17th over. So Timal Mills says he's not unlikely to get picked in the first 11. He wants permission to go play elsewhere. But this is the thing, lady. He needs that permission.
Yes.
So a player who wants to speak out against their board, for example, will think twice about doing that because, they'll think, well, I'm going to need a favour a little bit later.
Yeah.
I don't think that should be the case.
No, and that's why it's important to have good people involved.
Full toss from Arshad. It's been smashed down the ground. Again, it's going to get to the boundary. 2 fielders in pursuit. It bisected them perfectly. Terrific stuff from Jitesh, who moves on to 36. 163 for 3 now, Punjab Kings.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's important to have people in place who understand the decisions that the players have to make. And as much as I'm sure, I'm very, I would be very loyal to playing for England, and that is your priority. That's just me speaking and my opinion. But you have to think about your career after cricket, or lack of career after cricket in a way. And from a financial point of view, sometimes the offers that the guys get these days are hard to turn down.
I beg your pardon, the previous delivery is being reviewed, so the decision is being challenged. The decision was of no ball, I believe, so they're going to check this with the DRS. It looks like it's below waist height for me. It looks comfortably below waist height. It wasn't given either, so I think it's the batters who've decided that they want to review this. We'll have another look at it. Yeah, the point of contact comfortably below waist height.
The ball is passing. Ball would have passed clearly below the waist had he been in his upright position at the popping crease. Satisfied. Let's get back to Maddie on field.
That's the voice of Akshay Tortre, the TV umpire. And the decision's been upheld. It wasn't given a no ball by the umpire, and that is what it remains. The Punjab Kings lose a review. They have 1 left. Mumbai Indians still have both. Here's Arshad again, as the batter moves a long way across his crease, only to be beaten by a full ball outside off stump. The keeper's taken it really well, Ishan Kishan, and he looks sort of pleadingly at the umpire, who's given it a dot ball, which is fair. I think it was moved a long way outside off.
Yeah, it's pretty well bowled as well by Arshad, who was actually following the batter, took the pace off as well. So a nice bit of I guess thinking on the feet and actually being able to deliver that type of delivery when the batter's moving around in the crease.
163 for 3. 2 balls to come in the 17th over. Jitesh Sharma on strike. Here's Arshad again. This is short. Jitesh has had a big swing at that. It's got a long way up in the air in the cover region. Will the catch be taken? No! It falls just beyond the grasp of Rohit Sharma in the deep. Well, there was a sort of a deep third fielder, a cover fielder inside the circle, and a deep extra cover, and that somehow managed to fall in a zone safe from all of those fielders. Another couple of runs, fortuitous though they may be, valuable as well they are.
I just wonder if Rohit Sharma could have put a dive in there, but it's always tough, isn't it, when you have to turn and then track and try and get the ball in your eye line. A lot of moving parts, so just fell short, and a bit of luck.
He's a gum chewer as well on the pitch, Rohit. I always worry about that. As the next ball is short, it's been hammered down the ground by Jitesh, not timed. He'll be fielded this time. It'll just be the single. So he's managed to pinch the strike at the end of the over, has Jitesh. Stephen Livingston will have to wait another over to try and get to his half century. Didn't face a ball in that over. 166 for 3 after 17. And 3 overs remaining in this innings. You reckon they'll definitely want to get about 15 and over off the last 3. Cross that 200 threshold. To do that, they don't even have to get 15s. They have to go 12s to get that 400 mark, 200 mark, I beg your pardon. But yeah, just to sort of tie a bow on that, I mean, like you were talking about sort of national pride and stuff. I guess it's different in different parts of the world. You know, I often have this debate about.
That's a good point.
Some people always talk about Test cricket being the pinnacle, but it certainly is in England, and it may well be in Australia and other parts of the world. But there's other parts of the world where T20 cricket or white ball cricket subsidizes Test cricket, like in Pakistan. Like India can generate revenue from anything, but there's other countries where they need their T20 leagues, and Bangladesh, the BPL is a very good example of that, and it subsidizes their Test cricket. And it's hard. It's a balancing act for everybody to find the right player for the right format, to cultivate them, to keep them satisfied, and to pay them a fair wage. And it's a difficult balance. I wouldn't want to make it, but like just on the principle, I'd like for cricketers that have the ability to go and earn a living without having to, sing for their supper. This is a low full toss, been driven beautifully out to deep extra cover. Nice looking shot that from Jitesh. And finally, Liam Livingstone's back on strike. 167 for 3, 2.5 overs to go. Yeah,
because the tricky thing with a lot of governing bodies is that they don't have the financial resource to compete with, leagues like the IPL or to be honest, most of the leagues, they don't have the finances to pay the players. So, like you say, I think it's trying to find that balance, and time will tell, I suppose. We can try and predict all we want, but I'm sure we'll find out very soon.
Indeed. Madhwal in again to Liam Livingstone, who swings this ball over extra cover, and that's going to run away to the boundary for 4, and that is going to be 50 for Liam Livingstone. He's been sort of starved of the strike for the last few overs. He finally gets back on strike, and it's his first ball for 4. 53 for him off 32 balls. His first 50 of the season, which is slow going by his own very high standards. What a terrific player he is, particularly when he's in this kind of form.
Yeah, 75 runs from his previous 4 innings coming into this game, but still striking it well. I think you don't get too worried with players like Liam Livingstone when he's striking the ball nicely and he gets out and for a lower score. He hasn't looked out of nick, is what I'm trying to say. Right, so you feel at some point it's going to come, and obviously today he's going along very well indeed. And even with just over 2 and a bit overs left, you feel that there's still a bit more damage that can be done.
Indeed. 171 for 3, 17.2 overs gone. Liam Livingstone on 53 off 32. He's on strike, and Madhwal is running in to bowl to him. It's a low full toss, been dug out by Liam Livingstone. Was dipping on him quite quickly, to be fair. He's played out to extra cover, deep extra cover for a single. Yeah, he's been very good on picking up on length. And Madhwal has been mixing his deliveries up a little bit. No real consistency from him. We talk about the variation of length being a big part of the modern game. People often think about variation of pace, but the variation of length as well just keeps batters a little bit honest, particularly on a reasonably flat batting surface.